That's the other thing. Like, Nick's playing Apex. Apex is even gayer than Call of Duty.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about Nickmercs. Now, if you don't know who Nickmercs is, he is a Twitch streamer, he's a part of FaZe Clan, he's just a very popular person online who mainly plays Call of Duty. Now, what did Nickmercs do? Well, a tweet was posted on June 6 showing a video of anti-LGBT protesters attacking pro-LGBT demonstrators outside of a school board meeting. Now, another creator, Puckett, quote tweeted this and said, "This happened 4 blocks from my Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love who they love and live your own life." And Nickmercs saw this and he replied saying, "They should leave little children alone, that's the real issue." Now, when he initially tweeted this, he had many people speculating that he was potentially calling people groomers and, saying that they need to leave them alone because they're pedophiles. But he actually clarified later in a Twitch stream what he actually meant, and this is what he had to say.
I mean, listen, my wife and I just had a baby. Brand new father. We seeing these kinds of videos, it's sad, but her and I agree that we want to be the ones to talk to our kid about things like that. I'm trying to keep it really simple just so we don't have to get too crazy about it, because there's nothing to get crazy about. It's just, it really is that simple. I think I just have a bigger perspective on this now, being a parent, than I did maybe 2 months ago. So, the video bothered me, right? And that's I just don't think it's any place for a teacher or a school. I don't think it's the place to speak about things like that. And it's not that I think that it shouldn't be spoken about. If that's what you got from that tweet, then you're just wrong. I don't have any quarrel with anybody in here. I don't have any quarrel with people on the internet. It wasn't an anti, I guess, gay tweet. That wasn't what it was. Now listen, if you have issues with me or if you have issues with that tweet, then hey, listen, I'm down to agree to disagree. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. But if you think that I hate you because you're a certain way, you just couldn't be any more wrong.
So, I mean, you guys saw just then his take really isn't even that crazy. It's not like he doesn't want his kids learning about LGBTQ people at all, and he just wants them to be, hateful homophobes. He just wants to teach them about LGBTQ plus people at home, away from the school, because he doesn't feel that the school is well-equipped enough to successfully teach his children about this stuff, and he's full within his right to think that, right? Any teacher could have her own personal biases that they could potentially, try and inflict on the teacher. I'm sure we've all had that one kooky English teacher before that sort of, tried to push her own beliefs onto other people. I can completely understand him wanting to educate his children at home instead of in the school environment. But despite this clarification and despite his initial tweet not even being really all that crazy, Call of Duty decided to remove his bundle from the shop anyway. Now, if you didn't know, he had a exclusive sponsorship deal with Call of Duty where they actually had his own bundle within the game, and because of this whole controversy, they ended up removing it and probably losing him money, which is really fucked up considering he is a new father, right? So, now this new father, Nickmercs, has lost money. I'm sure having a baby was a financial stress on them already, despite them being very well off. And, so obviously this is just a super unjust situation. Now, we have Nickmercs tweeting out here, "Friends are created in good times, but families are built through adversity. Appreciate all that have your back. Understand my position as a father and recognize the love I have for all. Ain't no hate in this heart, Peeb and L." We also have Tim the Tatman coming out in support of Nickmercs and calling for his own bundle within the shop to be removed. Honestly, Tim is a super good guy for this, as he's basically losing himself money in order to stand up for his friend, which is just insanely admirable. We also have trainwrecks coming out in support of Nickmercs, saying in a reply, "W fuck cancel culture. If the part of the internet that's going after Mercs were the good guys, they'd teach to be patient, and even if their teachings were to be questioned, the vocal minority who pretend that they are fighting for equality are just virtue signaling for clout. What they are doing here in this situation only sends people further down the rabbit hole and divides by putting people into an angry state, void of logic and understanding. Political leaders and viewers coming after him know this and use these movements for their own gain, power, and advertisement. So, that's a W for Trainwrecks. And, I guess if for whatever reason Nickmercs gets a suspension on Twitch, which I doubt he will, but just in case, he could go over to Trainwrecks platform Kick and have, their full support over there, which is, that's a good thing. We also have Dr. Disrespect coming out in support of Nickmercs, and there's actually a clip of him deleting Call of Duty because of this, and let's take a watch.
What we got to do is uninstall the game. Number one. I mean, don't get a mistake. In this year's Call of Duty is the worst in its franchise. But that decision by COD's PR marketing team. I'll tell you right now, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to digest for the two-time. I feel like, A, they either need to apologize publicly to him or reinstate his bundle in order for me to consider playing Call of Duty again.
So, an obvious W for Dr. Disrespect there, saying he's not going to play the game again until Nickmercs receives a public apology. And, I agree and urge you all to do the same thing. In fact, many people are actually boycotting Call of Duty because of the Nickmercs situation. As you can see by this Keemstar tweet right here, many people are just done with Activision's bullshit and just not putting up with it anymore and have decided to boycott, which is a good thing to see. Now, of course, when you have a situation like this, there's the reasonable people, the people that understand what Nickmercs was trying to say, and then you have the people on the other side that just hate him for some reason and are intent on destroying his life because of this relatively minuscule comment he made. So right here we have SVB, an Overwatch content creator, I guess. I don't know, I'm not too familiar with him. But here's what he had to say about the situation.
Protect my child so deeply, and I only want them to believe Reaganomics, right? I only want them to believe in trickle-down economics. Well, at some point in the big world, someone's going to be like, have you heard of socialism? And they're going to learn about what socialism is. And especially in the age of the internet, when Google is at hand, at some point they're going to walk outside and one of the other kids is going to be like, do you know about gay people? And I'd rather an informed person who, with a specific curriculum, someone qualified to teach the issue, teach that issue, rather than just hoping your child, grows up to 18 and doesn't understand what queerness is and then figures it out for themselves. Maybe the parent doesn't want their kids to learn about socialism. So here's the argument. I follow through that argument. What you're saying is that just understanding what socialism is would be so powerful that your child would be compelled to do it. What you're really telling me is that you don't really have a lot of conviction in your own beliefs. You think that your hyper-capitalistic ideology is so fragile that should someone even encounter what socialism is, they will crumble and change their ideology to match socialism. If that's the case, you've already lost. If your child learns about socialism and becomes a socialist, they probably wanted to be a socialist all along. Someone believing a certain thing only because of the absence of knowledge of something else is not belief. That's ignorance. Someone believing that they're straight only because they don't know that there's a possibility to be queer is not them actually being straight. They were never that straight to begin with. If the slightest indicator that they could be something else gets them to change their mind. What you're saying is that you don't want your child to be gay, which is just homophobic, right? It's like you're just saying that of all the things my child could be, I don't want them to be gay. So you're not that tolerant of gay people then. Because do you decide every single facet of your child? No, they're an individual themselves. And if one day your child decides that they like the color blue, would you force them to like the color red? No, you'd just be like, okay. Either if you did, you're a terrible parent. Or your child's just going to like blue and they're going to continue liking blue. What if they taught racism and Nazi values in school? My guy, they're not teaching you to be gay. They're just teaching you what being gay is. They do teach you what Nazi values were, you fucking moron. They actually teach you what Nazi values are. And if you were persuaded by the Nazi values, that would make you a racist. My guy, they literally do tell you what Nazis thought and did. And they tell you what racists thought and did. It's called the slave fucking trade. And if you come out being like, I think that's great ideology, you're a fucking racist.
So, yeah, obviously that guy had a lot of things to say about it, and he was basically pretty wrong, Now, from what I've seen, he only reacted to that initial tweet, but, this guy is so confident and so dumb that he posted that reaction onto Twitter without thinking to watch the actual clip that Nickmercs put out where he clarifies what he thinks about the situation. And if he watched that clip, he would know that Nickmercs doesn't not want to teach his kids about gay people. He just doesn't want them to learn about it at school, right? Because he doesn't feel that school is equipped enough with the right tools to teach his son effectively about LGBTQ people, right? So he wants to do it at home. That's all he was saying. And if this moron had actually watched that clip, then he would actually know that, and he wouldn't have said something so ignorant right there. Now, we also have what Hasan said right here. I'll play the clip for you, but I mean, it's a lot more memey, but still equally as retarded, I would say. So here's that clip.
That's the other thing. Like, Nick's playing Apex. Apex is even gayer than Call of Duty. Call of Duty is like more fucking... Call of Duty in and of itself is like more fucking hoorah, American imperialism, blah, 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 all this shit. Apex is so fucking gay. You have to suck a dick to get better at it, okay? It's like wild to me that like the most bisexual game out of all the fucking shooters, and that's the one he's playing, and he loves it, and it's like he's saying this kind of shit. Like, Apex literally is a trans character, dude.
So, I mean, there you have what he said. Honestly, like, that's... It's just stupid. You know, that's the biggest political streamer in the world right now, comparing the gayness of Apex Legends and Call of Duty. I mean, you really just... You can't make that shit up, bro. We also have QTCinderella chiming in on the situation, saying, "Yo, at Nickmercs, at Tim the Tatman, shade never made anybody less gay." And finally, we have a person by the name of Jayln. Okay, if you don't know who Jayln is, she is a commentary YouTuber with about 300k subscribers, and she chimes in by saying massive W in reaction to Nickmercs getting his skin removed from the store. And yeah, if you know anything about Jayln, you know she's just a massive hypocrite for this, because there's multiple clips of Jayln out there saying the N-word, multiple slurs, calling a black person the N-word. There's a clip of her doing that. So, I mean, if we held her to the same cancel culture standards we're holding Nickmercs to right now, then she would most definitely just be like poor out on the streets, right? And finally, a little bonus meme here at the end. We have people getting mad at Nickmercs again because of these tweets here. Okay, here he says, "Ohio is the worst state in the country and Florida is the best state in the country. Next question." A person responds by saying, "Florida is ran by an asshat. No way that's the best state in the country," referring to Ron DeSantis. And Nickmercs replied by saying, "You mean the GOAT. Keep your dumbass up there in boo-foo-foo land." So obviously, you know, Ron DeSantis is a very controversial figure for his legislation against, you know, trans youth. I don't want to get into that, but you know, people are just mad at him for voicing his like political opinions, basically. And I don't think he should be getting this much hate just for simply voicing his political opinions, right? Even if I may personally disagree with him, I think he has a right to support whoever he wants, right? And yeah, it's just super cringe to see people fucking throwing a hissy fit over this really minor stuff. But that's all I had to say about it, guys. Please consider hitting the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.